Hi everyone, my name is Gabriel and this is the Hour of the Raven, your channel for everything Ravenloft, RPG, Dungeons and Dragons, and horror.
Today, we will explore the mysterious island of Demise and unveil its rocky cliffs, the volcanic caldera, its jungle, and subterranean labyrinths. Before we begin, a few clarifications. Today, we will explore the domain of Demise, and we will expand our reference sources to address this domain. Our exploration through the mists in the core domains of Ravenloft generally cover domains that had already been featured in novels, adventures, and especially in the Ravenloft Gazetteers, books that provide detailed information about the domain and their Dark Lords. Up until now, I have been careful to present Ravenloft in my videos using official sources. However, in the case of the Demise and other domains not previously covered by the Ravenloft Gazetteers, I intend to expand on the sources of information. The domain of the Demise first appeared in the Monstrous Compendium Volume 2 and received a brief mention in the book Domains of Dread. The domain would be covered in one of the 3rd edition Gazetteers, focused on the domains of the Sea of Sorrows, but unfortunately, White Wolf's license to release books for the setting came to an end, and these books were not written. The Ravenloft fan community wouldn't let the setting rot in oblivion. The Fraternity of Shadow website, the most well-known and organized site for fans of the setting, has published netbooks that continue the Gazetteer's proposal, exploring in depth the domains of dread. Some of these books explore the Nocturnal Sea, the domains of Sorang, or the cluster of Zerisha, for example, and for some time now they are developing a gazetteer for the Sea of Sorrows. Although the Sea of Sorrows gazetteer is not yet finalized, some of its passages describing domains have already been previewed by the authors in the Court of the Raven netbooks. In the video description, I will leave the link where you can download it. The next videos about the Demise will be based on the official material and the article about the domain written by Ron Lauffer. The article on the Demise was published as a preview of the Sea of Sorrows Gazetteer, and it's possible that the final text will change when the Gazetteer is finally published. Are you ready? To escape the horrors of Markovia, we managed to infiltrate as stowaways aboard the ship of the Howling Walrus. Our clandestine journey doesn't last long, however, and we are soon discovered by the sailors. Surrounded by the crew and their cruel captain, we know we have no chance to fight, and in an impulse we throw ourselves in the cold waters of the Sea of Sorrows. After the thermal shock, we quickly search for our way to escape and survive, and we swim desperately to an island we see in the distance. The crew of the Howling Walrus don't pursue us, and some even seem to laugh in derision at our choice. Finally, we reach the rocky island and cling to the rocks to avoid drowning. We can find an accessible beach, and all that's left is to climb the rocky walls to reach the top of this rock formation and explore the island of Demise.
Hour of the Raven.
The Isle of Demise is a Ravenloft domain inspired by Greek mythology, featuring a Medusa trapped in her labyrinth as its Dark Lord. Although it is virtually uninhabited, some of the ruins in the island may date back to the classical era, and their architectural features are analogous to those of ancient Greece. The Isle of Demise emerged from the mist in the northern Sea of Sorrows, northwest to the Isle of Agony in the domain of Lamordia. To those observing the island from a distance, it appears to be a large conical mountain, with enormous stone walls rising from the sea. Strong currents and large rocks surround it, making it impossible for large ships to approach. Even small boats lack an anchorage point near the walls, and there is no other way to reach the top other than by scaling the rocky walls. These rocky cliffs constantly crumble, making their ascent a great challenge. Attentive climbers will be able to spot hidden cave entrances during the climb. While many are dead ends, some lead to a network of caves and lava tunnels that steep into the mountain and perhaps even connect to other underground structures. Upon reaching the top of these cliffs, climbers found only a rocky wasteland, devoid of any evident vegetation or fauna. Despite some rocky elevations, the landscape remains completely barren until we advance to the center of the island, where explorers are rewarded with the revelation of a large caldera. The island is a huge dormant volcano, and at its center, a deep caldera appears, which, unlike the rest of the island, is filled with dense tropical jungle. The island's center has fertile volcanic soil, hot springs, and geysers that elevate the temperature and humidity of the area. This combination has allowed a jungle to emerge within the caldera. The caldera is almost circular and is about 3 miles in diameter at its widest point. The island climate is quite different inside the caldera. Hot water geysers erupt frequently, leaving a sulfurous smell and clouds of steam in the air, and a hot and humid climate, like a pocket of a tropical climate. This hot climate is altered only by inexplicable zones of cold and icy air, which appears to be fixed and do not move even by strong winds or other climatic variations in an inexplicable behavior. A disturbing characteristic of this jungle is that there is virtually no fauna inhabiting it, save for small insects, and the forests remain eerily silent. While some birds, bats, and lizards can be seen on the rocky walls near the sea, in the caldera where the jungle prevails, no animals are found. This untouched aspect of the forest gives the impression of a lost and ancient world, a link to a distant and primordial past. The absence of obvious fauna is compensated by a rich flora. The entire caldera is covered by ferns and bromeliads that grow on every available patch of the land and even take root in other plants. Orchids bloom in a cacophony of different shapes and colors, and vines and creepers grow tangled beneath the larger trees, whose canopies might even block the light of the day. Various fruits and mushrooms are available for hungry explorers to gather, as long as they know how to distinguish between edible and poisonous ones. One flower that stands out is the Apetrus orchid, which, in the hands of a skilled alchemists, can be used to create a lotion capable of reversing magical petrification. The flora of Demise, though seemingly untouched, flourishes at the hands of supernatural creatures, the mysterious Alvin. These creatures are shadow fae, supernatural creatures that emerges from the shadow rift and, for some unknown reason, decided to establish a colony in the Isle of Demise. The Alvin are a breed of shadow fae, appearing as small humanoids with butterfly wings, greenish skin, and reddish hair. Their breed is known among the fairies for their dedication to gathering and farming a wide variety of plants, flowers, and fruits. Gifted with magical abilities, they usually hide in plain sight by transforming into moths, bees, and butterflies. While they do not appear aggressive, those who deal with these creatures should be aware that the morals of the fairies are completely alien to human morality, and that many of these dedicated supernatural gardeners would prefer to see civilizations and cultures of the surface obliterated so that nature could reclaim the world, bringing back a primordial era. Perhaps this pristine aspect of the crater forest is what attracted this fae to form a colony in the remote island of Demise. Like all shadow fae, sunlight proves deadly to these creatures, and they hide underground during the day, emerging only at night. These creatures do not inhabit the caldera, but rather an intricate network of caves and tunnels that traverse the island's subterranean depths. Finding these tunnels is a challenge as the Alvin disguise their entrance, and many of these passages are only appropriate for their size. In some spots, lava drips can still be seen in the cave tunnels, and the entire complex is called the Molten Hollow by the Alvin, making it the only community on the island. A population of approximately 20 Alvin live in this underground community, and their leader is known as Prince Galandriel. Though his authority is not easily perceived, and human concepts of power may not be easily applicable. We continue to explore the desolate island of Demise until we find at its center a huge volcanic caldera covered in dense vegetation. Finally finding water and food, we feel relieved, but a disturbing silence and terrible foreboding grip our hearts. Night falls, and something approaches, and we hide in the jungle. We soon notice strange fairy-like creatures emerging from the darkness and beginning to wander the jungle, tending the plants as if in a vast garden. When necessity overcomes fear and caution, we leave our hiding place and approach these creatures, but most of them quickly scatter and disappear upon our arrival. Only one of them remains behind and look at us with almost childlike curiosity. We plead for help, shelter, or a means of escape, but she simply looks at us indifferently until, with an enigmatic smile, she gestures for us to follow her. She leads us out of the caldera and points out a cave, and then leaves us without further explanations. As we enter the place, we realize that the cave was once inhabited. Someone once made their home and refuge on the island here, perhaps a shipwrecked person like us. In one of the cave's corners, we find old notes, a sort of diary of the survivor. Join us, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications, and together we will unravel the history of Demise.